got you in sleep. There's nothing I can do to keep from crying without you, Jolie. But I can easily understand how you could easily take my man, but you don't know what it means to me, Jolie. Jolie, 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 Jolie. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolie, 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 Jolie. Please don't take me because you can. You could have a choice of me, but I could never love again. Be the only one. I have to have this talk with you. My happiness depends on you. Whatever you decide to do, Jolie. Jolie, Jolie, Jolie. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolie, 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 Jolie. Please don't take me, even though.
Pretty rubbish year. It's been a little bit tough on everybody. Why not bring a bit of cheer early? Why can't we enjoy them for a little bit longer and get them up in the studio like our just sort of very understated options? Doesn't that mean by the time we get to Christmas, we're sort of all Christmas down? No, it means by then it'll be a frenzy of joy and delight, for sure. We'll be even more excited.
We've squeezed every single bit of every little sparkle out of Christmas. I do have a question though. How do you make your Christmas tree last?
Well, I mean, the theory is if you get one that is alive, you can water it in theory.
Yeah, but does that work?
But heating seems to cause problems.
Yeah, well,
These ones are recycled. We use these ones most years, don't we? So these ones are.
Well, they're not real.
They're going to be fine, I think.
Puncturing the dream.
No, but why? But I think there's a world. I think Laura will agree. There's a world where recycling a tree. I think we've had ours, although maybe it was last for 15 years.
What's the environmentally friendly option to squeezing the extra sparkle out of?
So for a real Christmas tree, make sure you buy it from somewhere sustainable where they plant at least one tree replacement for the tree that you've got. Artificial trees, if you have them for 10 years, the same carbon footprint as buying a brand new real one. So as long as you keep it for 10 years, the impact on the environment is minimal.
There you go, Mrs. S. You see, I just need to keep it a few more years and we'll have double whammy for that.
Andy, a very outspoken Crystal Palace fan who regularly keeps in contact with me, says, and usually about politics, I have to be said. This is his tweet he sent me yesterday. Here is a picture of my Christmas tree. It's still in the sheds because it's November. Ours are definitely out of the shed, in the studio.
Debbie on Facebook, mine went up 2 weeks ago. We love Christmas. It makes us happy. Chris says it's not too early. Our decorations went up on Sunday. Okay, it's never too early. I put mine up this time of year. It makes me happy. That's the point. If it makes you happy, just go for it.
Normally, the rule in my house is, it's my birthday on December the 10th. Please, can we just have a moment for Mum? Can we?
So
before we celebrate Jesus' birthday.
And really?
Can we just put mine, and then your birthday's the next
day? So you're insisting you're more important than each? Is that just in the debate?
It does sound like that sort of kind of thing.
Do you know who shares his birthday with Jesus? Chris Kamala. He's actually born on the 25th. There was a testimony claim he could have been the Messiah.
Is he born?
Yes, absolutely. But he always celebrates in the same as well. But I think his decorations, not loads of boundaries.
His decorations not allowed to go up until Christmas.
I think his decorations decorations
On
go up before
the birthday party.
My birthday's day after yours.
That's
Have
right.
the Christmas decorations up. We can all share in the joy. I don't
You
mind.
know your place. Well, we're going to put them up early. I finally accepted that Christmas should come early. Keep in touch with us this morning. Who is it going to deliver for tonight? Big question, Ben Shepherd. More than 16 million people expected to watch the historic all-British clash between Wales and England at the World Cup tonight. Robert Page's side must beat England to have any chance of progressing to the knockout stages of the tournament.
Yeah, significantly as well. A win for the Three Lions would see them top group being qualified for the last 16. Jonathan Swain is in Doha. Now then, Jonathan, we know you've been out. Yes, we know you've been out there for a while. Is the sun getting to you? A half shirt comes with a certain title which we can't go into.
Look, split personality this morning. Not my idea, I have to say, but I think I am sort of half qualified to wear this. I do have a mother who's actually from Wales, from Anglish, believe it or not, so probably appropriate for me to wear this morning. But not just split loyalties with me, but with the people on board Swain's Cruises, Swain's ship here this morning. Morning to you all. We've got some Welsh fans, some England fans here as well. There's some 7,000 England fans that are coming out for this match, around 6,000 Wales fans as well. Of course, they're going to be in fine voice tonight, but Wales have a huge task ahead of them, don't they? The last time they beat England was in 1984. And Vince, you were there, weren't you? I was. Yeah. Give us a sense then, the big task ahead. I'm sure you want to stay out here in Qatar.
Yeah, definitely. We're enjoying the experience for the start of our first World Cup, so there's no pressure on us really. The team really didn't do themselves justice in the first two games, and we look at this game as a chance to perhaps pick our first win, even if we don't go through. But it'll be a fantastic experience for us all.
Well, good luck tonight. Jamie, just briefly then, a bit easier for England tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, 4 points from 2 games. I think it's always positive when you accumulate that amount of points after 2 games in a World Cup. And the players have full on experience, so I'm expecting us to progress later on today.
Oh, no, thanks very much indeed. So more from here throughout the morning. But we've been out and about in Qatar, and fans have been making the most of it.
In the desert, the battle is on. Fans have been enjoying a day out, and they know to win that their teams will have to be adventurous and take risks too. But for Wales fans, staying in this tournament beyond tonight feels a little like a mirage in the desert.
So hopefully you'd like to extend your stay in Qatar then, if all is well.
Yes, we have a provision for that. We paid £150, I think, flexible everything on the ticket.
The first World Cup in the Middle East offers supporters various ways to get around.
Well, the Qataris are keen to show us that there's plenty to do during this World Cup. But they would advise fans to hold on.
Father and son Stephen and Jamie are enjoying the hospitality and are confident that their stay will continue. They have tickets all the way to the final.
Here to the end. And if we do go further, either boy will be out.
In Doha Centre, it's a camel, not a red dragon on display. This couple from North Wales love their team, but have mixed feelings about being here.
Not the country I would have chosen to come to a World Cup to, but we are where we are.
The Wales team know that tonight they have to win, otherwise they're going home.
We need to keep sticking hard, stick together, work like we always do, keep our spirits high, and we'll give 100%.
Meanwhile, England need to avoid a 4-goal defeat to qualify. But this match is about much more than that.
Well, basically, they're here, we're right there. There's not a lot more I can say than that, really.
In Qatar's traditional market, they have embraced the World Cup. Some things here, though, haven't changed, like Mohammed's spice store that's been here for 35 years. So could England and Wales tonight provide some extra heat? Jonathan Swain, Good Morning Britain, Qatar.
That's our main news this morning. Coming up, we're going to be speaking to the associate editor of the Daily Mirror, Darren Lewis. Darren is out in Qatar, along with Kevin McGraw.
Yeah.
And Quentin Letts is here as well. Also going to be talking to the World Cup superfan who's been to
10 World Cups in a row since 1986. He saw Maradona and the hand of God
Although he didn't realise.
He was up in the gods, so he didn't actually realise what had happened until they got back to the hotel. How much was his ticket for that game, Susanna Reid, do you know?
I don't know.
£12.
Oh, blimey, inflation's taken a toll, hasn't it?
Just a touch.
I wonder how much the whole experience in the World Cup has cost him.
Yeah.
Over the years. We'll talk to him a bit later on. First thing, he's shown with the rest of the day's news.
Susanna, thanks very much indeed. Good morning to you. Rishi Sunak has said the golden era of relations between Britain and China is over. In his first foreign policy speech as Prime Minister, he warned that Xi Jinping's regime was increasingly authoritarian. But he said the country's global significance could not be ignored. It comes as police in China continue to crack down on protests against Beijing's tough COVID restrictions. Well, in a moment, we'll speak to our political correspondent, Louisa James, in Downing Street. But first, to Patrick Fox, who's in Hong Kong. Good morning to you, Patrick. So China has been tightening security across the country after the wave of protests, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's right, Sean. There's really been a dramatic shift already in the past 24 hours. Security beefed up across several cities. In Beijing, there were police patrolling streets heavily last night. In Shanghai, they've set up barriers and roadblocks along Wulamuchi Road, which is arguably the site of the most significant protest that's been taking place in the past few days. So it does seem as though this movement, if you can call it that, is already dying down somewhat. And experts have said to me, one of the things is that, for something like this to take hold, it really needs to be organised and structured. And for that, you need civil groups and you need activists. But under President Xi Jinping, a lot of those have been eliminated. But don't forget, this is also a big setback for the Chinese government in its effort to try and eradicate the virus. And President Xi Jinping still has a huge economic crisis on his hands, and those are still things that the government are going to have to address.
Certainly is. Patrick, thank you. Well, the Prime Minister has faced pressure from Tory backbenchers to toughen Britain's stance on China since he took over at number 10. Our political correspondent, Louisa James, is in Downing Street for us. Louisa, Rishi Sunak suggested a hardening of diplomatic relations with Beijing, but stopped short of calling China a threat.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where words are very carefully chosen and the specific language used is very significant, especially as this was Rishi Sunak's first big foreign policy speech. So on the one hand, he criticised China's human rights record and those crackdowns on protests. And when he talks about the end of the golden era, he's quoting George Osborne there. In his time, President Xi was invited here for a state visit, and David Cameron took him down his local pub for a pint. On the other hand, though, Rishi Sunak's position on China has softened. Even in just a few months, during the leadership campaign in the summer, he was describing China as the biggest long-term threat to Britain. That word threat now seems to have been replaced by the word challenge.
Now let's be clear, the so-called golden era is over, along with a naive idea that trade would automatically lead to social and political reform. We recognise China poses a systemic challenge to our values and interests. A challenge that grows more acute as it moves towards even greater authoritarianism.
At the same time, Sunak was saying we need to engage with Beijing, essentially because we need China's help on shared problems, things like climate change, economic stability, food insecurity. Labour have accused him of flip-flopping. The Lib Dems say his speech was tone-deaf in the light of the treatment of that British journalist, and some of his own MPs, as you say, think he should take a much tougher line on China, saying what more does the country need to do to be classified as a threat. Here is the Security Minister, Tom Tugendhat, agreeing with Rishi Sunak's speech, but saying we need more sanctions on China.
Already we are imposing sanctions on some individuals who have been connected to the Xinjiang repression. I very much hope that the Foreign Office is watching very closely and is going to take action on this, because the Foreign Office has got a responsibility to supervise what's going on within China. That's, I'm afraid, not my remit. And I hope that that's exactly what they are doing.
We'll get more detail on Rishi Sunak's 10-year plan for defence and security next year, but it is another reminder that he is just a month into the job, and beyond his economic policy, there's still a lot we have to learn about what Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister, actually stands for.
Louisa, thanks very much indeed.
Also this morning, social media firms could face multi-million-pound fines in future if they fail to follow their own rules on young children using their platforms. It's part of the government's latest plans for online safety. But companies will no longer have to remove material judged to be legal but harmful, such as glorifying eating disorders. Critics argue it could lead to free speech being censored. Instead, firms, including Facebook and Twitter, will have to give users the option of avoiding such content. Britain's biggest police force has launched a new anonymous hotline for people to report corrupt or abusive officers. The Metropolitan Police has been heavily criticised over failures in both its anti-corruption and disciplinary procedures. There have also been a series of scandals surrounding police culture and criminal behaviour, including the rape and murder of Sarah Everard by a serving officer. The hotline will be run by the charity Crime Stoppers. The world's largest active volcano, Mauna Loa in Hawaii's Big Island, is erupting for the first time in nearly 40 years, causing volcanic ash and debris to fall nearby. The authorities say lava has been contained near the volcano's summit and there is no threat to nearby communities, but some people have evacuated their homes as a precaution. Well, let's return to our top story. Tonight's crunch match between England and Wales at the World Cup. Katie Rickard is in a village which straddles the border between Powys and Shropshire. So let's see if we can find her. Katie, up to 16 million people are expected to watch the game in Britain. Villagers in that village, it's called Llanymynech, isn't it, will be cheering on both sides, I guess.
Yes, they will indeed, Sean. Thanks for the pronunciation. You will be pleased to know that I am actually on the Welsh side of the border. I know I'm primarily Welsh fans. I think it's safe to say that if Wales do get through to the next stage, you will hear the shout from England. That's not very difficult. Because we're only about 50 metres from the border, hence why you will have people from both sides. We're going to speak to some of these fans in a second, but first of all, let's have a look at why this might be the toughest village in the UK when it comes to picking the team. Llanymynech is a village divided by a border and now by a pretty important football match. The Talbot Jones household actually straddles the two countries.
So I'm Jamie, I'm supporting England, and this is my father-in-law Neil, who's supporting Wales.
Without doubt, yes, indeed.
Well, I think if it was a rugby game, it might be a bit more intense, but for football, I think it'll be friendly. Yeah.
In many ways, the pubs in the village have come to form the dividing line between England and Wales. They even had different rules during lockdown. So the Dolphin Inn, behind me on the right, is firmly set in Wales. The cross over the main road and that dividing line between Powys and Shropshire lies just outside the Cross Keys pub. Meaning I'm about to step into England.
Good luck to Wales, I hope, on the trip back. It's a long way. It's all good banter. We just, we all have a good crack and
So if Wales get further than England, are you going to pop over to John's pub for a time?
I'm sure if they won, I'd have the tail between my legs and I'd walk over there and shake his hand and have a drink with him, I'm sure.
So we've heard from some of the English fans there, but what do the Welsh fans think? Can they do it? What's your prediction?
It's really all fairness.
What about you? 4-0. Do you know what they mean? For their faces. Well, let's speak to John Turner, who's the landlord here. So Jason from the Cross Keys said if Wales get further than England, he'll come in with his tail between his legs and ask for a pint of your pub. Will he be welcome?
Of course he'd be welcome. It would be an absolutely fantastic result, wouldn't it, for Wales to go through. But being an East London boy, even though I'm running a pub in Wales, I must admit, my allegiance is always going to have to be for England.
As you can see, it's a very divided line, but I have to say this is probably one of the most friendly villages I've ever spent time in. So I think tonight here could be a win-win.
Thanks, Katie. I think John's got a bit of an identity crisis.
Jonathan does too, by the way. He's out in Doha with his half-half shirt. Not sure about that. Was that our relative's idea?
The half and half?
Yeah. Name and shame him if it was. Neil Thompson, I don't think he's ever been to a football match in his life, and he thinks that's appropriate. I think it's outrageous.
Watch out, Ben, because apparently employees have been warned to be careful that banter does not turn into discrimination today, right? Don't discriminate against football fans and non-football fans. Sean, have you read this? It's on the front of the Times.
Yeah, I've already lodged a complaint against it. Don't worry.
That was a couple of years ago, though. That one's still going through, isn't it?
Oh, that was from the last time. Yeah. That was a Spurs West Ham.
Let's have a look at the weather this morning with Laura. Now, we reported, my goodness, it was an exciting moment, wasn't it? When the Artemis rocket took off live in our airtime, conveniently. Well done, NASA. Now they're releasing pictures. What have you seen, Laura?
It is so cool. So they had a big press day yesterday. They are halfway through their mission. So it's Artemis 1. It's the mission to send the first woman and the next man to the moon in 2 years' time. And yesterday they sent these really cool images. So this is the Orion space capsule in the foreground. They have images of the moon and the Earth in the distance. And they also have these really cool close-up ones. And this is from what we call the dark side of the moon. So the side of the moon that we never see. It's not actually dark. We just never get to see it. And they passed over the old landing sites for Apollo 11. They've actually got the closest pictures we've seen since the Apollo missions. And they're now in orbit and they'll be splashing back down to Earth on the 11th of November. But they have some really cool things on board. So they have a big mannequin to see the impacts of deep space on human bodies. And they have these twins. So they're called